Hello, I'm back with another home ed Q&A video, and this is Joseph K. How do you avoid cabin fever? Well, we've never had cabin fever. Until last September, really, we were out probably 5 days a week and fitting our school in around that. So it's just never been a problem. There's been times when Izzy's been poorly and we've had to stay at home because of that. Some of the ways that I've kept it so that we don't go crazy is to do different subjects in different rooms. For instance, we might do one activity at the table, have a break. Do the next activity on the sofa, have a break. Next activity upstairs in one of the bedrooms, you know, and moving it around like that so it's not the same four walls all the time. We get plenty of time apart. Even when we're at home together, we will do things in different rooms. So if you're homeschooling and you're feeling like you're really on top of each other, you could structure it that you do something with the child, they do something independently, you do something together, they do something independently. So you could structure it like that if you wanted to. This next one is from Becca. How do you teach foreign languages and what books/apps do you use to do it? Thank you. Well, I'm not really teaching any at the moment. And when I say teach, I never really taught, just sort of facilitated, you know, provided her with the resources and told her when to work with them. So we've dabbled in our homeschool with a few languages to a greater or lesser extent. Welsh, I would say, is Izzy's probably most fluent one. I actually don't know what her level of Welsh is because she keeps it a closely guarded secret. She never speaks to me in Welsh. She avoids speaking Welsh in front of me at all costs, and I have genuinely no idea. I think she understands a lot. So one of my theories about language learning is you've got to hear it. You can't just learn it out of a textbook. You've got to hear it first, I think, before even seeing it written. Otherwise, what you see written can prejudice the way you perceive the sounds. That's what I think anyway. Some people might disagree. We did a lot of listening in our homeschool. We would make the use of S4C, the Welsh TV channel here available in Wales because Izzy did Welsh. So we would put that on every day in the morning before sort of starting for the day. It would be on, we'd eat breakfast and watch it together. But with those really young kiddie shows, it was quite obvious what was going on and what was meant just by the way it was made. Those early programs are kind of designed to bring on language, aren't they? So we did a lot of that, and that was literally 5 days a week for years, watching S4C in the mornings. Likewise, I did with Portuguese and French. We would watch videos and DVDs and then later YouTube. Okay, so this was a while ago, but as you can tell by the medium, Muzzy or Muzzy, this is, I got it on VHS because it was £23 from eBay at the time. Probably like 8 years ago now. It was 100 and something to buy it new, so we still have a VHS player. Super old school. Muzzy was made by the BBC. They're all on YouTube. You can watch these for free now. They're videos that were made, oh goodness, when? Let me just check. I had to Google it. It was 1986. So Muzzy, or Muzzy, is an animated BBC series that is designed especially to teach language, but through visuals with the native language playing. So it's really, really obvious what is meant by the animation. So obviously they can go beyond the realms of real possibility by like transforming an object into another object, things like that, just to make really, really clear exactly what is being meant by the phrases. And it's so cleverly done. So we watched a lot of Muzzy, and Muzzy comes with, well, in those days, an audio CD with all the phrases on, but obviously it's probably more up to date now. I don't know what they're doing. Also a transcript, and the transcript also includes the English version as well, in case there was any doubt of what was meant. It comes like this with pictures in, and honestly, after I'd heard it so many times, I was literally able to read these in the native sounding way to Isabel when she was little. But look them up on YouTube, they're very good, and they have so many different languages. It's not just French, they've got loads. We never really seriously learned French. That's as much as we did, really. It was kind of an introduction, and then in my head I was thinking, well, if she wants to take it up when she's older, she'll have had that early foundation of hearing and assimilating all those sounds. Because I think if you don't hear them below a certain age, it becomes very difficult to even hear them. It's like they become invisible to your ear the older you get. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was learning Portuguese, there are loads of different ways of saying the letter R, and I was studying it for years before, like magic, I was suddenly able to hear a particular R sound. It was like the audio version of invisible, just this one particular sound. But I think there's still more that I just can't hear. They're there, they're being said, but because my brain doesn't know what it's supposed to sound like, it just doesn't pick it up. And so that was my rationale really for exposing Izzy to a lot of sounds of different languages very early on. I'd have like Chinese TV playing in the background sometimes when she was a baby, you know, in a little bouncy chair. She wasn't watching or anything. I just think, I'll just put 20 minutes of Chinese TV on. I was flicking through the channels. Yeah, I don't know if it had any effect, but that was my theory at the time. She also watched quite a lot of The Lingo Show on CBeebies, which is really good. I don't know if it's on YouTube, it might be worth a look. Really good, The Lingo Show, aimed at very young children and covered a range of different languages. For languages, I am a strong believer in immersion in a meaningful context. So for Izzy's Welsh, I put her in a stage schooly type group, but in Welsh, and she went to that from age 7 till 13, something like that. So she was doing singing, dancing and acting, putting on shows, doing performances, all through the medium of Welsh. So she obviously could speak it, but I don't know how much, because she would never do it in front of me. I am clueless. Oh, and we are famous, hang on. Anybody Welsh speaking in Wales recognise this series? Yeah. Roedd Izzy a fi ar y teledu. Dyna hi. Izzy and I were on the telly, and there she is. That was on the strength of that Welsh stage school she was at. They came and auditioned and Izzy got a part doing that. So yeah, that's a programme for Welsh learners to watch with their young children. So that was actually a resource, so we were on it. So I don't think it's showing anymore. It was rerunning for years, but it isn't anymore. She was 7, I think, when she did that. It wasn't just us, they had about 7 families that took part. Izzy also did Mandarin, and again, I just thought, well, there's no point in trying to learn a language unless you're actually interacting in an environment in that language. So I went and just kept my eyes open, spotted a Chinese looking lady with her Chinese looking son in Cardiff, and went and clobbered her and said, "Excuse me," trying to find a group of some sort that speaks Mandarin that my daughter might be able to attend. And she said, "Oh yeah, there's the Cardiff Mandarin School." So boom, we went to the Cardiff Mandarin School. Izzy went, not me. Sundays in Cardiff, she went and sat in a classroom full of native Mandarin speaking children for, I don't know, an hour and a half, something like that, every week, and they learn to read and write Mandarin. Well, I've rummaged in the loft. It's hot up there, it's a hot day out apparently. I found the books, but honestly I don't think that's going to be any good to any home educators that are not going to the class and having it guided. So it's the stuff Izzy was doing really, learning to write characters and stroke order. Quite a few of those she got through. They have to practice their writing on this special paper. Do you see that? You have to write all the strokes in exactly the same order. Looks complicated, doesn't it? Just repetition. Loads and loads of it. This was quite good. The Earworms, I'm sure you can get that as a download these days. I don't know if you're familiar with the Earworms language CDs. They've been around for quite a while now. So they take common keywords and phrases and they put them with a musical backing track, and they have an interplay between a learner who's quite advanced and a native speaker, and so they have a dialogue going on which is carefully crafted to involve a lot of repetition, and although it's spoken, it's not rapping, but it's done in time with the phrasing of the music, if you know what I mean. So the learner might say, so, and the music's going on, I want to say, I want. How do I say I want? And she'll go, Geiru. Geiru. And he'll say, I want. is geirw, and then repeat it along with the music and gradually extend it. And he might say, I want a beer. How do I say I want a beer? And she'll say, geirw cerveja. And then repeat it. So it's impossible not to be able to regurgitate those phrases verbatim. It's a really effective way. But this was the Chinese one. Isabel could order a beer in Chinese. Needless to say, it's not made with children in mind. It's not rude or anything, but some of the phrases a child wouldn't need to use. I did buy this, but it's one of those homeschool purchases that looks great on Amazon, and it's absolutely lovely to have and to hold. But the child was not interested in it, and really we didn't get very far with it. But this is apparently a way to learn to read and write Chinese with visual enhancement. Chinesey. I can't say what it's like because we just didn't use it enough. And for Welsh, we used the Dwli workbooks. They are a series of workbooks to be used at home to teach Welsh, basic, just literacy really. The Dwli workbooks are in Welsh, but they have English translations as well, and they have a little for parents box at the end of every page. Oh, we'd learn songs in Welsh off CDs, like stuff that she gravitated towards on the telly. When she was little, she was into Donna Di Reidi, which was this rapping character on S4C on the TV channel in Welsh, so she learned a few of the Donna Di Reidi songs, and Rapscallion, who was another rapper, so we'd learn those together and be sort of singing them in the house. Portuguese, we got a Skype teacher because I didn't think there was an awful lot of hope of having an immersive experience in Portuguese where we were. Maybe there was and I didn't know about it, but I went for a Skype teacher for that one, and I'll leave a link to her in the description below because she's very nice. She's called Sophia, and she was charging €10 an hour last time I had her services, so she might have gone up a bit since, I don't know, but you can contact her via the link below if you're interested. She teaches adults and children. She would do Izzy for a small chunk and then I'd have the rest of the hour, so we kind of shared it but one-on-one, so we took turns. Also for the Portuguese, we watched videos in Portuguese. Oh, she learned some songs. See, I know because I'm a musician and sometimes I have to sing in Welsh, and obviously I don't speak it, but when I very first started singing in Welsh, before I had even any lessons, I don't think, I would just listen really closely and copy the sounds, and I would know the sequence of phonetic noises to make, and I had no idea what I was singing about, but I just matched it with what I was singing along with because I was only doing harmonies. So I know from that insider perspective that you can emulate the sounds that way, and you don't even need to know what it means to produce it like a parrot. So I've done that loads on stage to Welsh speaking people, and they probably don't know, but I don't even understand what I'm singing about. Sorry. But anyway, from that professional musician perspective, I know full well that you can absorb and emulate sounds that way just by a lot of repetition of hearing it. In fact, Izzy came second in some reciting competition in Mandarin out of the non-natives, because they had different categories, because some children weren't native Mandarin speakers, so if they were doing competitions they'd sort of branch them off separately into a different thing, and Izzy learned like a parrot this little speech from a recording, and she just copied it exactly, all the intonations, inflections. I told her to listen to it 8 times a day, sitting on the doorstep after lunch, have a go at copying it, and I knew that by the end of that week she'd have it, because that's how I would learn it when I had to do it for a gig. So I have no workbooks to report for the Portuguese because it was all done with Sophia. Sophia would email worksheets, we'd print them off, Izzy would do them, and then they'd go through the answers next week on the Skype lesson. And was this approach successful? Don't know. Isabel has always been very resistant to learning other languages up to this point, as a lot of kids are, because if they don't see a real need to do it, then there's no motivation there. So, I mean, I suppose I could say I was successful with the Welsh because she functioned in this Welsh medium group for years. She didn't always know what they were on about, but she certainly got by. If I'm honest, doing foreign language or second language learning with my child at home has been incredibly difficult in that she was not motivated to do it. And although she's a good girl, she's always gone through the motions for me, it wasn't something that she was passionate about, and it wasn't coming from her. This was me feeling that I couldn't let those years, those formative early years, go by without exposing her to a number of very different languages, so that when she's older she's got a foundation to build on. And I think that is what we've achieved, because she's not confident to go and talk in those languages beyond very basic phrases, like she'll order an ice cream in Portuguese or something, or at least she was doing. She's probably forgotten now because she hasn't done it for a while, but she'll say, you know, hello, goodbye, good morning, thank you, excuse me, and things like that in Portuguese to people. She's confident to do that, but not beyond that level. So I don't know if it's been successful or not. I suspect we've built a good foundation, as I said, but it's not something that's quantifiable as far as I'm aware. So, but that was the approach I took. And I think I'm going to have to leave this video and do the next question in another video, because it's going to end up being really long. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.